Do you remember the first time do you remember the first time that you posted on social media? Were you working with someone? Was it what you expected? I mean, so many things come up going back to those days of when you first posted. And that's what this pop-up live is about with my guest, who is amazing and a client of mine. And she's going to share her journey, what it's like to work with me, and we're going to learn more about her. So make sure you stay tuned because you're going to learn a few things and more. Welcome, everybody. And yes, we are going to be talking about what it's like going back to the day when you first posted on any social media platform. I mean, we're going to be talking about first posting, building a presence on LinkedIn, but for some, it could be that you are thinking about posting just focusing on LinkedIn, or maybe you're thinking about TikTok or Instagram, but there's so many butterflies that come up when it comes to what do I post online? What do I share? What do I not share? What kind of content should I be posting? Should I be doing videos, carousels, static posts? How should the copy be? What is even copywriting? So before we get into all of this, I want to share with you this amazing guest to my left. Her name is Poonum Desai, and she is a client of mine. And today is actually her last day. I'm super sad that she's not going to be working with me, but she really did come to me not knowing what to do on social media. But she did start posting on Instagram, but it was kind of different coming over to LinkedIn. And we're going to learn more about what she does and how by working with me helped her even refine her messaging, who she wants to target. So, Poonam, tell us a little bit about yourself and like why did you decide to focus on executive coaching?
Sure. So, first of all, thanks for having me, Shri. I'm very excited to be here, and it's been an absolute blast working with you. And I have learned so much, and it's been such a fantastic journey. But long story short, I wanted to work with someone who is going to help me build the confidence in myself to put myself out there. Because, in terms of executive coaching, I really got involved in it because I have been a team lead for a pretty long time and in all the various titles: project lead, senior team lead, et cetera, et cetera. But I've been in those positions of leadership. And one thing across the board that I just noticed across the different industries I've been, different roles I've been in, is that, in middle management, we really struggle. We feel overworked, underappreciated, and almost sometimes we have all these ideas. We are in the trenches, and so we have an idea of what could be improved, but we don't have enough power to actually change anything, so on and so forth. And a lot of my colleagues and I would talk about this and how do we be better leaders when we don't have the resources, but we also want someone to understand our struggles. It seems, and especially middle management, you're just kind of expected to be okay with everything, handle everything. You don't complain. It's a privilege to be here. So your life is perfect. So you don't have any problems. And that's just not true. And so what really got me into executive coaching was to kind of help everyone, and by everyone I mean especially higher leadership, see it from that middle management perspective first. It's always about, well, what can I do to be a better leader? What can I do to be a better leader? Which is important. But I wanted to also take another route and say, what is hindering people from being a better leader? What is preventing them or hurting them? What are the obstacles they're facing? And how can I see it from your perspective first? How can I understand your perspective first before I'm out here telling you what you need to do and giving you all the advice? Because that's what people want at the end of the day. They want to be heard and listened to as people first, because it gets exhausting to have this checklist of what you need to do to be better at this, better at this, better at this, better at this, better at this. And everyone throws that at middle management and it gets overwhelming. And so that's what really got me into all of this. And that's what then eventually led me to seeking out your services and asking for your help because as you've told me repeatedly, you got to put yourself out there. You can have the best ideas, you can be an excellent coach, and you can know your stuff really, really well. But if no one knows who you are, if no one gets the privilege of seeing you, it's just going to be hard for people to build that trust. And especially as a psych safety executive coach, I know how important trust is. And so I was like, let me go to somebody who does this and can guide me and give me those pointers. And I found a spectacular individual to help me with that.
Well, thank you for the kind words.
Yeah.
And I do agree, if no one knows who you are, even if you have the best idea, then it's just going to waste, because a business is actually something where you exchange money for services. I'm going to say that again. A business is where you exchange money for services. If you are not doing that, it's just a hobby. And even the whatever you look at, whether it's the IRS or whoever you pay taxes to, eventually they're going to say, this is a hobby. This is not a business. And we are here to provide for our families at the end of the day. So if you are thinking about, hey, I want to start a business, or I want to get online and start talking about my services, or even just to understand social media,
Mhm.
that's what I was helping Poonam. But at the same time, did you know like kind of what you wanted to offer when we first started, or was it afterwards of working that you figured it out?
That's a great question. And I think it would be when we first started working, I had this really big idea. And I think a lot of us start that way when we have a business idea or we want to launch something on social media, whatnot. We have this really big idea. And we have this grand vision of what it can be, the value it can bring, et cetera, et cetera. And that's excellent. Hello. And that's excellent. However, the refining and the tuning into tangible metrics, tangible action, that is what happened throughout our time together and then gave me more actionable course to make that vision happen. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck is they've got this great vision. They know their material, they see the vision, they've got it, but it's too big. You're trying to envision yourself as Beyonce, but you haven't taken the singing lessons yet. You haven't taken the dancing lessons yet. You haven't done any of that yet. And it takes time, and it takes focusing on one goal, refining, focus, and then building on top and building on top. And so I think what helped me with the coaching was taking my idea, keeping it in mind, knowing that this is what I want for my future. But what do I need to take today? What small step do I need to take today to build that? And so that's kind of, now we're at the end. I know what type of content I want to produce. I know how I want to display it. And I want to know a LinkedIn post versus a blog post, or even my book that I would like to work on, right? How I can keep the content, but what flexibility do I have with the book versus what flexibility do I have with a LinkedIn post? What do they want to see online versus what do they want to see in written material? And all of that has come with more refinement throughout this time we've worked together. And then that's helped me refine the next goal, the next metric, the next milestone that I can accomplish.
And I want to let people know, like, I was honest with Poonam. You may not get a client working together. Like, I told her the goal is not about, I want people to get their return on their investment. But at the same time, sometimes the first round is really about understanding, refining who you're targeting. Because sometimes we don't do that. Even when I work with clients and we manage their social media, which is for a clinic, a pain clinic, the first thing is understanding brand awareness. We're bringing visibility to the clinic. And then the next step is understanding, okay, what content is resonating, what content is not. The person that said hello, that says Facebook user, is Chandrea, and she's really good about understanding what radio technologists are looking for when they want, what's going to connect with them, and then also what other doctors, people who would hire her services, and also she works with brands. So I want to give a shout out to Chandrea. Is she still on the live on Facebook? But definitely she's here on LinkedIn as well. And she has a podcast. But again, it goes back. Sometimes we have this big vision and we want to take it and make something from it. But sometimes you have to go back. And I remember as an entrepreneur first starting out, I didn't understand this and I was getting frustrated. Why am I not getting a client? Or why is this messaging not working with somebody else? That's because nobody was taking me what I felt would work for Poonum, and that was slowing down. Like, you wanted to post every day, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I initially was like, okay, I can do it. And then slowing down was a really good practice for me. Especially, I think entrepreneurs tend to be very high achievers, more type A, more go, go, go. And so the idea of not necessarily resting, but slowing down feels unproductive. But that's not true. It's a very productive. It's actually essential to streamlining and strategizing your approach to whatever you're trying to accomplish, but that is a hard pill to swallow. And so I think through that waiting, it was so difficult. I would have rather run a marathon than wait. I It was so hard, but it was really essential because it forces you to focus on the content, on the questions you would ask is how does this read to your ideal client? Or is this hook engaging? Or what are you trying to say here? Or what is the emotion that this picture convey, et cetera, et cetera. Those require slowing down. And it's not just about putting something out there. You want to keep it quality because that's still your name on whatever you put. It needs to be quality content. So quality always over quantity kind of thing. But yeah, absolutely. I started out that way.
And we have Marlene King on Facebook saying hello, hello. She does bookkeeping services. So, I mean, for anybody who's watching this live or replay, you probably are like, or even listening to the podcast, you're probably like, but why would I want to slow down? I mean, isn't it the point to be posting every day? Actually, you want to build that muscle, but you don't also want to be posting all the time and then burning out because you're not seeing results or
Mhm.
you don't understand what to look for. Because even though, like, we have numbers to show, for example, like Poonam did increase her followers by 8%. She did get profile viewers that, were up to 287, going from not seeing many people weren't looking for her. Her impressions, I mean, it's crazy, but it's like 44,000. That's like crazy, right? But that goes to show when you take the time, because when we first started working together, I never talked about the numbers. It was mostly like, okay, did this make sense to your reader? Because if it did, they would have left a comment. And the number of comments don't determine, like, I always say this, comments are important, but if you're getting comments from the people that you are targeting. So if in your comments you're getting two, and these two people are exactly who you want to work with, then it resonated. Sometimes our posts, like Jasmine or even Luke Matthews, Taslim. There's so many other, Nat Berman. You'll see that their content has a lot of comments. But if you go back, you will see that it wasn't always like that. They had to understand their audience. They had to slow down. They had to analyze each post. What can we do differently? What is the next step? So I wanted to ask you, we did an exercise where we took one idea and we put it in three different perspectives. So we started from the CEO, the middle manager, and then the employee. And so, what did that do for you by doing that exercise?
I love that exercise. I think it's a really and I think it's an exercise that anyone can actually benefit from is being able to tailor your message to who needs to receive it because communication is not about just this Poonam talking to Shri or Shri talking to Poonam. Unless Shri understands what I'm saying and responds, I just transmitted a message to you. But communication is where you fill that whole circle. And so if you want to effectively communicate something, it is about what is going to resonate with the CEO because I've addressed their pain points or I've addressed their mentality or their ideology versus what's going to address with the middle manager. They're going to have a totally separate mentality, a totally different perspective, and completely different struggles. how they feel unseen is going to be different than how the CEO feels unseen or how the employee feels unseen. And so being able to tailor a concept, the concept itself could be as something as be kind. And it seems very simple and anyone and everyone can get that. But how I explain my idea of be kind to a CEO is going to be different than how I explain it to a middle manager. And it's going to be different than how I explain it to an employee. And that is a practice and it takes time because it requires consistently taking yourself out of your mindset, putting yourself in somebody else's, which also requires lots of conversations with those individuals, lots of follow ups, just doing the research about how they feel about something because it's so easy for us to assume that someone will feel the same way about something the way we do, right? That's a bias that we have that everyone's on the same platform, same page because we tend to surround ourselves with people who are similar minded. But even though that's the case, that doesn't mean they're interpreting the idea the same way and they don't have the same experience. And so that exercise is a really great exercise for anyone to do. Even if you're trying to explain something as simple as a deadline, practicing how you want to explain the deadline and what that means and how the CEO needs to hear it so that you can still maybe get the extension if you need the deadline extension versus how your team's going to hear it is so different. But it is about the art of making sure that you show value of yourself to that other individual, to the receiving end, by talking about what they need.
I love that you brought that up because if you're watching this and you're like, well, it's getting a little too tailored, let me explain to you. There is somebody out there that resonates. Like if the post is written to the CEO, there's that middle manager, there's that employee who's like, wait a minute, I know exactly how this is. Even though it wasn't directed to me, I still understand it because you can write content where you are being specific, but you can relate to others. I'll give you another example, and that is the eyelash technician. And so if you are someone who goes and gets eyelash extensions, what happens a lot is the person falls asleep. And so there could be content if you were on, you could use it here on LinkedIn, it can be on Instagram or TikTok, Facebook, or even X, and you say, have you ever had a client that fell asleep on in the chair while doing their lashes? So now this is attracting the lash technician, but also the client because you could be either one. And it's the same thing with your post. Like, even though you're talking to the CEO, you could still have it where somebody can be like, oh my gosh, I know this scenario all too well, all too well. So now we're going to go into, you brought up like looking up content ideas. Conversations are one of the key. If you're not conversating with people, then you don't know what's really what they're looking for. I will take in a great example of when I shifted over to focusing on medical, dental, and law practices. I really thought I had a grasp of what they were looking for until I started having conversations with lawyers, doctors, and dentists. I even did, and here's an idea for anybody who's doing market research, you can offer something. You either offer your services for free or you can offer to buy a coffee. And that's what I did. I set a dollar amount and I asked several people and I bought them coffees for their time. So if they didn't hop on the call with me or they sent the message, the fact of the matter is I paid for their time and it's legal. Like, I'm not doing anything illegal, but these are ways to get in the mindset of who you're talking to. So besides talking to people, what else did you learn of how you can find topic ideas?
Yeah, I think another thing that I would do, I also started doing was really reading comments, on comments on similar posts and kind of seeing where people, what messages they would be saying. If someone posted something and it really resonated, why is it resonating so hard? And if it didn't resonate, why is it not resonating so hard? And just really reading through those comments because I think LinkedIn is such a unique platform where I think there's always a lot of information and content comments, excuse me. Even on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, right? You learn quite a bit through what you read in the comments. But LinkedIn is especially like that because the comments tend to not be mean or anything. They tend to be very informative or people agreeing or adding some sort of extra value to the post at hand. And so that's another thing that I would use for post ideas. And then also just thoughts that I have written out from my past observations of being this leader, of being in the leadership positions that I've been in, I'm a big proponent of journaling and writing my thoughts, writing my observations, and keeping it on hand, because when I move to my next role, if I experience something similar, I can kind of go back and say, oh, you know what? I actually went through that last time. This is what I liked that I did. This is what I didn't like that I did. And what's similar. So, using my own experiences is also really a great source in my mind of content, and acknowledging what did I do right? Why didn't I do it right? Why do I want to change it? What can I do to change it? And then what did I do well? Why do I feel good about that? Et cetera, et cetera. Because I think that makes you a lot more relatable, and especially talking about things that you have learned and grown from, right? Everyone loves to brag about what they do really, really well, but it again creates that space where it's almost like there's no room for mistake. And that's the wall we're trying to break, is that mistakes are just learning opportunities. That's it. Hello,
Hello,
Denise.
Denise. That's from the Facebook group. And Marlene is saying, I agree that interviewing your ideal clients from their industry is critical to specific content. And it does make a difference. Since I did those interviews, it has helped me with being able to create the content. As I've gotten on sales calls, asking questions, I've been able to come up with so much. Even working with Poonum, it helped me understand, like, back in the day when it was first, I first really started posting. Denise, I think you can remember Merlene, Chandrea, those of you who are watching right now, if you're posting, you remember your first days of like, what do I post and how do I post? How do I do video? How do I edit videos? Which you learned how to do edit videos, and you learned how to write your script, even write your copy. And and even just like I remember looking at your post from the first week, and now I can see a difference because as you've had more conversations, comments, I want to go into how important is it to comment on other people's posts?
Uh, Really important. I wish I had a more intense answer, but I think it's really important. And I just from a personal perspective, right? When someone comments on my stuff, it makes me feel what I have to say matters. It helped somebody out. Somebody appreciated what I had to say. It resonated with them. So it gives that confidence that the material that you are providing is helping someone, because it is so intimidating to put yourself out there. I think when you and I started working, that was our first whole week, was what is this barrier you have to putting yourself out there? And it's something I'm still struggling with. I still will try to get away with not posting a picture of myself, and she's like, no, you got to be a little more comfortable with putting your face out there. And so, because it's so intimidating and people are starting a journey, not only does the comment help facilitate a conversation and help you learn from other professionals, which is the whole purpose of LinkedIn, but you're also in a inadvertent way doing something kind for somebody who did take the time to put themselves out there, and kind in the sense of giving them almost a thumbs up or a pat on the back. It's kind of a, hey, keep going. We agree with what you're saying, or yes, I feel so seen by this, or anything like that. It's a positive feedback loop. It's a positive reinforcement. And that is how we keep learning from each other. So I think the importance of commenting is that twofold: is learning from others and being engaged on the platform and showing your expertise through another channel other than just posting on your own page, but then also giving encouragement to other professionals who are trying to do exactly what you're doing.
And I will share that this is something from Jasmine. I'm not going to take credit. He says, when you can only post once, or you can post multiple times, but you can comment
Mm-hmm.
like 50, 100 times. So, something that I would advise is start with the minutes, like start with 10 minutes per day and build up. Then you can build into like account number of accounts, because it is a muscle. If you are new to commenting, if you are new to, understanding social media, I will even quote Jasmine. He says, spend the first week just commenting on
Mm-hmm.
people's stuff before you start creating content. And I agree, because you've got to build those relationships. You will be surprised how one comment can get you a bunch of connection requests. Like I remember I left a comment on Shay Rowbottom's post, and I woke up to 27 new connection requests. It's crazy, like what is possible out there. I've even read where people have are specific, they go to Gary Vee's posts and leave comments because they get leads from it. Like
Hmm.
that's part of their, strategy. So look at commenting as just a way to get more visibility to you, because if someone likes it and someone likes what you have to say, they're going to follow you and they're going to see who are you, what are you about, and want to connect. So before we end for the day, and all of you who are watching, really appreciate you, um, how can we connect with you, and what are the services that you provide?
Yes, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That is my main form of my professional social media. And I provide a variety of services from one on one coaching to kind of looking at your pain points. If you have specific pain points that you notice are repeating, for some, it's maybe employee retention. Do a lot of DEI work specifically as well. And so, whatever those specific pain points are, I also come in and definitely help kind of facilitate new game plans, come up with training modules, et cetera. I do tailor a lot of it to companies because every company is unique and every team is different, and so that's more of a consultory services that I do. But then also I do tailor the service. If I have a unique case, I create a new unique action plan for them, and just to ensure that not only are they getting the return, but they feel empowered to continue doing the work that we do once we do conclude our time. Because my goal is to set you up for success, kind of like a personal trainer does. I want to set you up for success, have the good game plans, have the good form, have the good nutrition guide, but then you build your own success and continue to pay that forward. So that is my goal. So that's,
And that
you can find me.
And there you have it. You can connect with Poonam, let her know that you saw her on this live or you heard her on this podcast. If you're thinking about, hey, I want to level up my social media game, or you know someone who is terrified starting from zero, you can definitely reach out to me, book a call. My team and I, we actually do the full service of social media management, from going in, talking with your team, understanding what kind of content that needs to be created to build visibility to your practice. We even record all of the content, edit the videos, do the copy, engage for you. We do everything because we understand this is not easy. And Marlene even said it herself, she needs to do better with commenting. It's a lot to handle. But even if you are a solopreneur and you are like, you know what, I understand the importance of social media and I want to pass it to someone else, this is where my team and I can come and help you. So, again, you have so much to offer to the world, but if no one knows that you exist, then no one will know that they can come to you, because that's a disservice. Because I always remember this: what we have is a story, and someone out there is dying to hear our story because they want to feel like they are heard, seen, and that you understand what they're going through. And if you're not sharing it, then no one knows. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Poonam, for these last few weeks. I'm super sad to be losing you, but I know you'll be back soon. I want to see you soar here on LinkedIn. And if you know of anybody who's looking to get on, just get on social media, period, or have someone take care of their social media, here I am right here. And so
Do
until
it, do
my
it.
next
I don't know which
live,
way to go, but do it, do it.
I actually am going live later on today with Chris Hennessy. So you can come and join me. That's in like the next few hours. So you'll see me again live. But until the next time, everybody, bye.
Bye.